All right, so now let's also talk about what else are we talking about? So excited to share with you a Bible verse that really helped to transform and to elevate the way that I think about business and money and wealth. I'm able to do a lot more now here where I am than I was back when I was in Maryland. I can tell you that. And that was thanks to us starting to earn more money and come out here. Been able to be a blessing to my mom, and we were able to find her a condo out here as well. So that stuff is things that we don't typically think about, but that comes from, oh, I just know this is going to help you too. So I'm really excited about this. And it all comes from one Bible verse, Deuteronomy 8:18. The fact that God gives us the power to get wealth, right? To get it, to obtain it, to create it, to draw it towards it. All that is what that original word translates to. Now, let me lean in close because we got to get serious about this because I'm about to break it down with some of that Hebrew. Okay. So when it comes to the word for power from Deuteronomy 8:18, the word power comes from the Hebrew word koach. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But it's Koach. So when we're talking about power, strength, ability, capacity, force, efficiency, even potential energy. And this is great because actually on my other channel, where I talk a little bit more about, life and spirituality, right, and having that connection with that higher source that you and I call God. Um, the fact that all these different possibilities exist out there, all possibilities exist. So why not pick out the good ones, right? But anyway, the fact that that's what that word means, right? It means all of those things that I just described. That's pretty darn cool. This word is typically used to talk about things like power in terms of strength of an army, power in terms of the ability to produce something, and power as in the force behind the action. Hello. Let's also talk about two words in that verse that a lot of people don't cover, right? And that is to get, right? So God gives you the power to get wealth. What is to get, right? We kind of have an idea of what wealth is. But what about this concept of getting it? Okay. So that Hebrew word is asa, spelled Asah, right? Yes. So this is not about going out and chasing after wealth, right? If it was, that would kind of be contradictory to the fact that, God will provide, right? How's he providing for you? And then you're also having to run out and go get it yourself. So it's not about that. The way that he provides to you when it comes to money is giving you the ability to earn it basically. But I'm gonna break down a sa. Okay, so that is the ability to do, to make, to produce, to accomplish, to execute, all that, all that. So it's not just about go get it, right? It's the power to be able to execute things in a way that it makes you prosperous. And again, in other parts of Deuteronomy, it talks about the fact that everything your hands touch shall prosper. And this is the power that makes it happen. The fact that he gives you this power. Love it. So you may also see that it's used in terms of talking about things like creating things, carrying out plans for things, taking action in things that result in something tangible, right? It is a way to see what you wanted be manifest, right? For you to now actually trust in it and demonstrate that trust, right? And that's how you go get it, right? To get wealth. So, last word that I'll mention in that verse, of course, is the word wealth, because again, people will start saying, "Ugh, wait, pump the brakes, prosperity gospel. I don't know about that." Listen, there is only one gospel, and that is the gospel that Paul preached about Christ, the good news about Christ. If you don't know what the gospel is, number one, that's the reason why so many people are getting bamboozled in the first place. Okay. Number two, you can go find out what it is because the sermon that Paul preached is recorded in the New Testament. Go see what he had to say about Jesus Christ so that you'll know that that is the gospel. That is the gospel. There's only one, the definitive article. Okay. Like, I don't know what people be doing, child. Anyway, so the word wealth is kayil. Kayil. I think it's Chayil. Now let's talk about that word, what it means. We're talking wealth, riches, resources, strength, efficiency, and influence. Think about it. When you have wealth, you have the ability to do more things, right? You have more options, which then produce more freedom for you. And obviously, the way that you obtain wealth, right, is one of the ways that you obtain wealth is through obtaining riches or money. Okay, you're gonna need some money. Thank God that He is the one that gives you the power to make that happen. Okay, and again, when it comes to the gospel, there is no such thing as a prosperity gospel or a health and wealth gospel or whatever other kind of names that people want to add on to them. There's just one. But the fact that that one, right, the good news about Jesus Christ and what he has come to do and his finished work on the cross, the fact that that now opens up a whole new way of life for you, which includes, yes, prosperity. It includes, yes, wealth and riches. It includes, yes, health. It includes those things. But that's not the only thing, and that's not the main focus. The main focus is really the fact that Jesus came here, finished his work on the cross, was risen from the dead, and now you have the Holy Spirit not just coming upon you like it happened in the Old Testament, but now dwelling within you. There's your power to get wealth. There's your power, that guide, because the Holy Spirit teaches all things, not just all spiritual things, all things. This is why when I'm working with women and growing their business, we talk about understanding and developing a stronger connection with spirit, right? With the spirit, and a stronger level of discernment as a result of it, so that we can be led by the Spirit through grace in regards to what business decisions you need to make, not based on feelings and emotions, and not just based on logic. You need discernment and wisdom. You need the wisdom of the Spirit, just like Solomon had. And that's all he asked for and turned out to be wealthy. And so that's what I mean. The wealth part is a byproduct of the wisdom. It's a byproduct of the power. You're going to receive power, and that power will include the ability to obtain wealth. And when you have that, yes, you have influence, because the way that you earn money, right? Money is simply a representation of how many people that you have impact on and you're helping in some way. So if you work for a major corporation or something and you make a lot of money, more likely than not, it's because you're in a position that is very valuable to the company, which then makes you valuable. And that's why they pay you the big bucks, right? With us in business, the more customers we have, the more money we make. It's pretty simple, right? The higher our prices, the more money we make, things like that. And so without the customers, you have nothing. You're not going to obtain wealth that way. So you need to have the power to be able to communicate with your audience in a way that touches them and moves them, right? It does more than just touch them. It moves them to act. And you start to build up a customer base, build up a clientele base. And as you do that, the more people that you're helping and influencing, right? And impacting in a positive way, the more money you earn, right? So your power grows, your wealth grows. That's really important. And with great power comes great responsibility. Is that how it goes? But yeah, it's important to acknowledge that, right? But when you are humble before God, it's not just this, oh, I'm just this little nothing. No, humility is you having all of your confidence in the Lord. Go back and look at what David had to say to Goliath, and the fact that David is described as humble. Go look at that, right? So anyway, I'm adding in all these other verses too, but yeah, I mainly wanted to talk about that. Now, let's also talk about the rest of the verse, because a lot of times people stop right there at the wealth part, right? And God gives us the power to get wealth for the establishment of his kingdom. So if you look at the NIV, you'll notice that the reason why God gives you the power to get wealth is to confirm his covenant. Which covenant? Which covenant? Because there's an old and there's a new, right? And so it's quite interesting. Pay attention to this because it tells you, confirms his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors as it is today, this day. Now, people will confuse that and think, oh, we're talking about the covenant of the law. Actually, no. Think about the covenant that God made with Abraham. I mean, really, Abraham was asleep. So God made the covenant with himself, right? He says, I swear by myself, right? Because there's nothing higher to swear on, to make a promise on, right? So that covenant, remember that, the covenant of being the father of many nations, being wealthy, right? Abraham was a very wealthy man, and actually so was his nephew Lot, to the point that they had to split off, right? So that was that's quite interesting, that you'll notice that a lot of people of God were quite wealthy, quite established in some way, or became that way through the power that he gave him or her. And this is why I can relate so much to someone in the Bible that actually is not a woman like me. I relate the most to Joseph. I have been through some downs and worse downs and rock bottoms downs in my life. And God has turned that into something for my good every single time, including in business. So you know, if you really want to be successful in your business, one of the things that you're going to have to do is work on your mindset, not just for your business, but for your entire life. I am making some changes and transformations and things right now where it is affecting me in ways that I just didn't know it was possible. I feel so much more joy. I feel more peace. I feel more excitement just about life. And I feel really excited to come on and talk to you as often as I possibly can. So I'm trying to get myself back to having something up every day. So we're going to see how that goes. But I do know that whatever I put out is going to be something that is impactful and helpful as you go along this journey. Because I really like to talk about the things that a lot of people don't really discuss with business. Like how you feel about it, how you thinking about it as you trying to take those next steps, and the times that you're feeling nervous or the times that you need some of the word to kind of help get you through certain things or to remind you of such wonderful things that you have going on, you know? So now, with all that being said, let's remember the beginning of the verse, to remember your God. And I look at this as taking that time to reflect, taking that time to spend with God, right? You remember somebody that is important to you and you're like, oh, let me call them up or let me spend a little time with them, see how they're doing. So remembering God on a regular is what I like to do. While I'm at it, we might as well pull out the Hebrew for you shall remember, right? Because I feel like a lot of times people act like it's oh, you better acknowledge the Lord or else you're going to get stricken down or something crazy like that. So the Hebrew word is zakar, and it means, like I said, bring back to your remembrance, to actively recall, to stay conscious of something. And my favorite that I like even more than that one is this: to bring to mind with intention. This is so very important. And we talk about this when it comes to meditating, right? You bring it to mind, bring it to remembrance with some intention behind it, to remember that it is God who is your source. It is God who has given you this source of power to be able to obtain that wealth. So now let's put it all together, and then I'll give my final commentary at the end. All right. So yes, we want to bring to mind with intention that it is God who gives us the power to get wealth. And again, with the word gives, let's make sure that we understand that this is ongoing present tense. So he is constantly giving you power to get that wealth. And we sitting around talking about we got to wait on this and wait on that. And I've talked about before in other videos, and I think also on my other channel as well, where I've talked about what that actually means to wait on the Lord is to, have that hope, that confident expectation of good, right? If that ain't the waiting you doing, then that's the wrong kind of wait. If you're waiting in terms of chronos time instead of kavah time, which is the appointed time, the right moment, or what some people call serendipity, if you're not expecting that is going to show up the way it needs to show up, in a way that's healthy for you and for others, that no one has to get harmed or nobody has to lose or miss out on anything in order for you to be able to get what it is that you asked for, that is the divine way of asking, believing, and receiving. Okay. So that's really more of what we focus on. Oh, and I think the word for that constantly giving is noten. I hope I'm pronouncing these right. I'm still learning to make sure that I'm saying them right. And I typically fumble them because it's Hebrew. Noten, N-O-T, N-O-T-E-N. Okay. So that's the word. Go look that up too. And you'll see it's that active present tense, which means it's ongoing. Okay. And then again, we talked about the fact that you get that power, that ability, the source of your wealth comes from God's power, right? He is the one and only source. And I was just recording a video. I don't know if I have it up yet, but it will come up. I was recording a video about how excited that got me. There was a book that I read that actually brought that to my attention and reminded me that there is only one power. We put so much energy and worry into this power of evil and power of the devil and this power of lack and scarcity. That ain't got no power. You know who got power for real? For real? God. There's only one real power. Everything else is just stuff we're scared of. It ain't got no real power to it. God has neutralized that. Jesus Christ did that on the cross chair. What we talking about? What we scared of? So I think about that, and it reminds me, hey, girl, go focus your attention on where the power's at. Because the power is in the Lord. It is not in all of these, dark forces. And that's the thing about the enemy. He wants to convince you to believe a lie, the lie that he has the power, the lie that you don't, when in fact you do, the power that, whatever power that he may have had, the moment you become saved, it is removed from him and placed on you, because that's who it was given to originally in the first place. Adam and Eve had dominion over the earth, reigning over the earth, and then gave it up through sin, right? Once sin came in, we lost it. But now that Jesus has come, finished his work on the cross, has been risen from the dead by the Father as a receipt, child. We got the receipts that we got the power. We have that dominion and that reign back. I love that. I love that. And so because of it, yes, you have that power straight from God himself. The power that is now within you, dwelling in you as the Holy Spirit, you have the power to be able to get wealth. What are we waiting on here? What are we waiting on? And so and also just remembering that the reason why is to confirm, right? Because God's word does not return void. It is to confirm the fact, okay, that um God established that covenant with Abraham. There was already a covenant in place before them Israelites went and messed it up for all of us and asked for the law, talking about, share, look, whatever God commands of us, we can do. Whatever his power, whatever his laws are that he governs himself by, we can govern ourselves by that too. Whatever you got, bring it to us, bring it at us. We can take it. No, the heck, we can't. What were they thinking? And now there's even more knowledge of good and evil that we like. That wasn't necessary all of that time, all the way up until they made it to Mount Sinai. Why are you asking for it now, child? And not realizing, and I think we do that too, not realizing the protection that we have around us that they had for all of that time. Like, child. And that's another reason to really focus on gratitude, because you just never, if you don't focus on gratitude, you will never stop long enough to realize how many times God has protected you, even at the times that you didn't realize it. How many times he has provided something for you that you didn't even know you were going to need, right? And we just go through that in passing. Like we gotta pay attention. So the fact that, he confirms that covenant is one of the reasons why we have that power to obtain wealth. So that's really, really cool. All right. So now, like I said, about my commentary, this really changed the game for me, because I realized that with all these skills and abilities that I have learned and developed, the fact that I even had the power to learn those comes from God. The fact that my brain works the way that it does and can obtain the information that it does, and my body can move and operate in the way that it does to learn the steps and have it become second nature, all of that comes from the Lord. And with all things that I receive from him, I have to give him glory, and that includes my business. It helped me to realize that, first off, this isn't even really about me per se. The wealth isn't for me. The journey towards it isn't really all about me. This is God filling me up with his love to the point that it overflows. And now, as it's overflowing out of me, it flows within other folks too, the people that I come into contact with. And so all of these things that he has allowed to be experiences in my life, I can now share that with people, impart the wisdom that he has given me from those experiences to those people, which is part of why I have this channel now. That's really cool. And the fact that doing these things, sharing information and knowledge with other people, allows me to be able to earn money and to obtain wealth. And that wealth then puts me in a position of power, of influence, of impact, to be able to wisely use that money for the things that will benefit others. So it is definitely important for those of us that are saved to let the Lord do what he do, and place us in positions of power, and have that power continuously working through us, to be able to obtain the wealth. And again, it's for the purpose of more than just making it rain. It's for the purpose of being a better resource to other human beings. Very important that we do that. I'm able to do a lot more now, here where I am, than I was back when I was in Maryland. I can tell you that. And that was thanks to us starting to earn more money and come out here, been able to be a blessing to my mom, and we were able to find her a condo out here as well. I was able to, at a moment's notice, fly across the country to go see my dad when I discovered that he was getting very sick very fast. And I had to drop everything, hop on a plane, and get there. And then even at that point, um, I we were still trying to find an even sooner flight than what we had, and we did, thank God. And once we got there, we've got a flight for 2 days earlier, and once we got there 2 days later, he passed. So if I had gone with the original flight that we got, I would have missed him. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to spend those last couple of days with him. So that stuff is things that we don't typically think about, but that comes from God being my source and Him giving me the wealth to be able to afford to drop everything, have the money already in the bank because I was prepared, not knowing, right? You have to expect the unexpected, and be prepared, had that money in the bank. And I'm glad that we did because we were able to just hop on that plane, get on out there. And because you can't do a do over. So I'm really, really grateful that I was able to get out there and have those final moments with him, and have that closure, because I had already had a premonition and knew that because of family drama and stuff, I didn't want to attend the funeral whenever it was that he was going to pass. And we had a conversation about that and everything. So that was fine. Anyway, that's a whole nother story, but that's what I mean. There's so many different elements to this. That wealth is more than just being a greedy money guzzler and being selfish and hoarding it all for yourself and all of that. It really does put you in a position to have more options, more freedom, and have the ability to do more with your life that in turn helps other people in their lives as well. So I ain't ashamed of that. And if it makes you feel really good to know that. And moving forward after really sitting down and studying that verse, and that's just one verse, right? But that's the power of God's word. He wants you to meditate on it day and night. And when you do, when you sit there and you chew on that word and digest, right? And then like a cow, you bring it back up again and you digest it some more and it goes into the next compartment and then you bring it up again. Like it's like that. You can get so much meaning from that. And this is also why I study the Hebrew and the Greek, because those are two of the most descriptive, meaningful, abundant languages that you can grasp meaning from. And so I believe that that's why God chose those languages to have his word written in originally. So, that's very powerful. It's one thing to study the word in your native tongue, but it's another thing to also go back and study the original languages and what that means. Like a lot of people think shalom just means, peace be with you, and that's it, right? Namaste. And no, shalom means so much. It means so much. It is a holistic level of peace in every area of your life, which includes your health and your wealth and your just overall well-being. It's so much. It's so much, but that's for another video. Anyway, I really hope that this has helped and that breaking it down like this really has more impact than just glancing at some words real quick and trying to make meaning out of it when it's already giving you meaning and helping you to just kind of digest it better and understand it better on different levels so that you can thrive. Okay? So yeah, that helped me with my business. And then once I took that and started to apply it to my life, right? Remember, as I'm creating this new product, that this is another way that God has given me an ability, a power to obtain wealth from this. And it's through him leading me to even create this resource in the first place that I know will be a blessing to other people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given it to me to create. So that's the most important thing, that it helps others. But in turn, God is not going to have you going around helping others only for you to end up empty at the end of it and broke and drained in any way, whether it's drained financially or drained emotionally. So that's not his way. And I have no problem sharing this with more and more women so that we can finally break out of these shells and these molds of believing these things about God that He never said, that was never true or never even in the Bible in the first place. Like, He's such a good God and He loves you so much. And it sometimes we got to take a moment and really take all that in. We got so much other stuff going on in life, and sometimes we start zeroing in on those things and making the problem bigger than our God, and He is so much bigger than that. There was even a description of just how vast He is in a book that I was reading with my husband, that He is, an infinite level of intelligence and wisdom over a matrix of interconnected energy that transcends time and space and knows every possible outcome of everything and just knows all. When you start looking at it like that, it's like, oh, that's huge. So I definitely want you to start looking at Him in the way that He actually is, and not the way that some people teach and preach it, like, what y'all doing? And really just see Him as this huge and wonderful, glorious, loving God. He's not judging us anymore once we've accepted His Son. We are in this place of pure, unadulterated, unconditional, unearned love, favor, protection, provision. And that helped me to get a lot more calm with how I look at life and how I look at my business and how I build things and how I operate the business. And it has definitely helped me thrive. I originally started to really pay attention to these things about 5 years ago, and that was, well, about six. This 2020, the end of 2019. So going into 2020, just before the pandemic hit, was when I was really starting to understand these truths a little bit better and apply them into my life and my business. And thank God, because I had no idea, did you, that the pandemic was coming and that all this chaos would be happening. But God had me protected in the secret place of the Most High, just like Psalm 91. And I was prepared and I was safe, both in my health and in my wealth, so that I could ride out that storm of COVID. So I didn't have anything. Also in Psalm 91, that no evil shall befall you, and nor shall it plague, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling, right? Same. Nothing touched us. And I'm so thankful for that. And the more that you practice those truths, the more it starts to come alive in your life. So it's really important. But yeah, hopefully this helps you too. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's a specific verse that really keeps you going and keeps you strong as you build your business and help others and live life and all that. Because I'd love to hear it and study it and possibly even discuss it in the next video. So thanks so much.